back into me, I might have to move. Weird. Of course, some weird stuff starts going on when I try to do this video. You guys ever have that happen? Somewhere beautiful right now. I wonder how close they're gonna get to me. Hi. You need me to move?
Can you just get up and let us back down?
Sure.
And you can sit back.
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Okay, Dad. Are you all right?
Oh yeah.
Okay, cool.
Oh yeah, I'm just fine.
Okay, cool. Pretty place. You look pretty to be at the lake.
Thank you so much. Hi there.
Hi.
People are funny. See, I like to take up space. You don't need to shrink or move or wiggle away for people. They can ask, they can have a conversation. All right, now that I'm not run over by a truck. How are you? I wanted to do a little pop-in, a little check-in. The energy's really intense right now, is it not? It's a wild time to be alive. Can you believe everything that's happening? Would you ever have imagined that you would be living in a real-life sci-fi movie? We are, y'all. We are, at least that's what they're trying to portray, but check this out. When you find yourself becoming weary, when you find yourself feeling stuck or worn out or stressed, come back to your nature. Come back to nature, okay? This is a time of great deception. There's much being revealed. Are you noticing? This is the greatest time. You were made for a time such as this. You were built for a time such as this. Every single thing that you've been through has prepared you for a time such as this. Now, is it showing up in a way perhaps a little differently than we ever could have anticipated? Oh, you bet. But would you expect anything else? So can you remove your expectation and begin to live with expectancy instead, because there is a difference? See, expectation is thinking that things need to go a certain way, that it needs to look like this or else. It's like you have a recipe, you have a snapshot, a detailed plan, an agenda of exactly how you want it to go. That's an expectation. And expectations are the seeds of resentment, and they are a cage that actually limit what's possible for yourself and your reality. Now, expectancy is something that's totally different. Expectancy means that though I'm seeing certain things right now with my physical eyes, I'm listening to my heart, I'm listening to my knowing, I'm using my other vision to see the truth, to see beyond the veil, to see what's really happening. That is expectancy. Expectancy is living in a space of knowing that anything is possible and everything is changeable. Expectancy is living in a space of knowing that more is coming. Knowing that more will be revealed. Hi, everybody. All right. There's so much going on the planet right now, and we are really being called to look at things in a different point of view. All right, so before I go any further, hi. Good to see the community on here. It's good to see you guys. Hi, I've missed you. How are you? I want to do a quick check-in, and then I'm going to get into some live authoring, some information that's been coming through. But I want to see how you are. I care about you as a person. This is big. This is big. All right. Hi. All right, I'm going to show you this place again. The water's great. I can tell fall is coming though because the leaves are starting to drop from the trees. We're beginning to get glimpses of yellows and orange. And here in a few weeks, the trees here, the forest, the hills will just be ablaze with color. I love the fall. Fall is such a great reminder to begin to shed those things that are no longer serving you. Is it not? Get all cozy, snuggle up. Campfires, hoodies, I'm about that life. Alright, this is a live authoring. Thanks for being patient with me and just hanging out because I gotta kind of get in the flow. This is a live authoring of a fantasy memoir that I've been writing. And for some people, it will ring as true. For some people, it will seem like a work of science fiction. Where you land on this spectrum is dependent on your current level of consciousness, awareness, and understanding. All right, and just as a caveat, everybody is at a different point on their journey. All people on all places of their journey, awesome. Welcome to the Great Awakening. More will be revealed. Beautiful things are happening. But wherever you are in your own personal life, this is a living, breathing thing that's flowing through me. So just like when you read living word of truth, it will hit differently dependent on where you are in your life. And I always speak on many different levels, so this may resonate with you and register on a level that maybe it doesn't for someone else or vice versa. Just take from this what you require. All right? So this is a fantasy memoir. This is fictional-ish. And right now what's happening in this place? So in this place there are three primary settings. We'll say three. Three primary settings, three main places, but there are two timelines. There are two potentialities playing out in this place. One is called the Land of Oz, and Oz is a virtually constructed reality. It is a matrix that is made up of trauma loops and fear, manipulation. It's a system based on control. Now, the Land of Oz operates much like a production studio, meaning there is a set, and there is a cast, and there are certain players and characters and roles that are played in the Land of Oz. And they use optics in the Land of Oz. They use altered lighting and makeup and masks and CGI effects to simulate certain situations that are not real. This is the Land of Oz. If you remember the movie, The Wizard of Oz, right? The old one from way back in the day. And they're on the yellow brick road to go find the Land of Oz. And what are they looking for in the Land of Oz? Well, you've got Dorothy. She has suddenly been uprooted and misplaced from her home. And she doesn't know really where she is or who she is. And she runs into the Scarecrow and the Tin Man and the Lion. And they are looking for a heart and courage and a brain. And I said those out of order. Correct them in your head for me. And they're looking for these things, and they are on this yellow brick road because they've heard that the man in Oz can provide it for them. They've heard that there is this all-powerful entity in Oz, in the Emerald City, that can provide for them. And so they're set off hell-bent to get there, are they not? Do you remember what happens when they get to the land of Oz? Do you remember what they discover? Well, you had a heart in you all along. And you had courage all along. It's how you got to where you are right now. And you had a brain all along, which is why you're on this video and you're thinking critically about yourself and your life and what's happening in the world, your own world. And by the way, you had home within you. You had that power within you all along. The brains, the heart, the courage, the home. Here. Now see, Oz does a crazy thing. Oz wants to make people think that that is not true, that those things have somehow been outsourced outside of them, and that they need to go seek that from somebody else. Oz is built on a system of control. The system of control is literally constructed out of trauma. Why? Because people that are traumatized are very easy to control. People that are traumatized, they people please. They like to avoid responsibility and blame because they don't want to be blamed themselves. People that are living in that state, they're full of fear, they're confused. There is chaos. People that are in chaos and are confused often look outside of themselves for solutions and for guidance. All right? They're desperate. I know because I've been there. I am a long time former participant in the land of Oz. And Oz had her way with me. If you've joined my other videos, Oz eats her young, literally and figuratively, and she certainly did me. She made me think that I needed to fit into this system, that I needed to play the part, that I needed to do certain things in order to, that I needed to tolerate abusive behavior in order to keep the job, in order to keep the relationship, in order to keep the social standing. Oz is manipulative. She is conniving. She cares not about your health or well-being, but actually, genuinely, at her core, wants to see you dead. Oz is built on the death mother archetype. Oz is a psychological operation that is literally designed to pull people out of their power, rob them of their joy, rob them of their humanity, and keep them caged and enslaved forever. This is the land of Oz. So there is a timeline right now that is playing out, and never before in this book of mine has there ever been a time where there was such a distinct separation between people's realities that they are actively experiencing. See, because you've got people that are actively participating in and are actively choosing to live in Oz. You have people that are actually addicted to and fed by the system of Oz. Now, you have a spectrum, right? There's always a spectrum. You've got some people that are in decision ditch right now. They have now seen that there is a man behind the curtain in the land called Oz, and that Oz is not actually providing them the things that they went there seeking. We've got people that are waking up to the reality that, you know, it was in me all along, and I don't need you to provide that for me. I can take care of myself, and the people can begin to take care of the other people, because that's the way it was always intended to be in the first place. By the people, for the people. All right, so we've got a lot of people there, and then we've got some people that are, again, further along in the journey that have reached a space that is known as the great beyond. It is the space of magic and miracles and leaps of faith, unchained and unhooked from the old systems of Oz and the old trauma that used to exist, living in a place of possibility, of potential, where there is vision an active creation and participation in building a new earth, a new way of living. And wherever you are on your journey is totally fine. Okay? If you are still actively participating in Oz, though, we must be honest with ourselves. There are a lot of alarm bells ringing, and they have been for a while. And as long as you continue to hit the snooze button on your life, that nightmare that you keep having, that nightmare that keeps showing up in your reality, will continue to exist. As long as you keep hitting the snooze button and you don't listen to the alarm and you aren't waking up, you will continue to live in that nightmare that haunts your life. And I know. See, for a long time, gosh, how long was it? 27 years of my life? For 27 years of my life, I had a repeating nightmare. And it was of two timelines, two choices. One that seemed really cozy and great that actually led to my utter demise. And one that was hard to face at first. Isn't the truth kind of like that? Every truth, every breakthrough that you've ever had, hasn't that been the experience kind of hard to face at first? But what exists beyond that? I gotta move. We're gonna walk around for a minute. There's lots of people. Hopefully I don't lose signal. If I do, I'll come back. Oh, the hills are steep here. So how are you? How are you doing with everything that is happening in your world? I'm gonna come over here. Hopefully I'll be out of the way. I don't mind being in the way, I just don't like being disrupted. Okay. Too ADD for that shit. There's a good view though. Feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, it's a lot. All right, look, we're at this time. There could be no more parking. I had a chit chat with a friend of mine today, and I'm so grateful for all y'all that are willing to see me in my mess and in my message and are willing to call me out on my shit, because quite frankly, like, don't we need that in our life? Got stuff that we can't see, and sometimes you need a friend just remind you of who you are, what's actually true for you. And what's actually true is now is not a time to just be resting on your laurels. That means sitting your ass on the couch, not doing anything, hoping that it's gonna get better. This is a no parking zone that we're in. And now is actually time for deliberate choice and deliberate action, being very intentional about each and every next step that you are taking, because your energetic frequency, your choice, your decision, the words that you are saying, the way that you are interacting with other people, whether you're operating out of possibility or whether you're operating out of fear, whether you're operating out of sovereign choice and educated decisions, or if you're operating out of being coerced or manipulated, this is a big deal right now. We choose the timeline that we're on. We are either on the timeline of becoming a literal zombie, a transhuman in the land of Oz, a robot, a mind-controlled, hive-minded robot in the land of Oz. That's their plan. Okay, in the land of Oz, They want people to either be dead because they're useless eaters or enslaved where they can be controlled and used. They are literally in the land of Oz cutting off the God switch within their being and their brain. Now, they tested it in the land of Oz with that stuff that they put in the water that's a known neurotoxin. I'm not going to say it because this video needs to reach some people. Please share it. Okay? They were trying with that, and they have tried with the food, and they have tried with the medicine, and they have tried to shut down our capacity to connect with ourselves, to connect with Source, and to connect with one another. And we must remember the truth. We must remember who we really are. Do you hear that? This is a no parking zone. This isn't a resting on your laurels. I hope it's all going to improve. No, this is intentional. This is time to be deliberate. This is not time to be like, oh, well, if I had, and trying to think that we can do everything independently. Look, the choice, the decision within yourself, the pure intention, and here comes the wind. Hi, Mama Earth. The pure intention of what you're desiring must be yours and yours alone, but to pull it off, and I'm so glad I'm seeing the people that I am on here, to pull it off, we actually do have to band together. Oz wants to make people independent. Oz, you know, if Oz can keep people independent, Oz can keep people separate. Oz can, it's like when a lion breaks off the weakest in the herd. Okay, that's the first thing that a predator does, is they isolate and they get one off. We are stronger together. There's a reason why animals live in a herd. It's time for us to begin to create tribes of like energy people that are literally taking the trail out of Oz to go and deliberately create the great beyond, the new earth. It is imperative. Have you not noticed what is happening? We are not any longer, sorry, I have to come back to writing fiction. Heard. I'm writing fiction. The people in Oz must make the deliberate decision to leave the land of Oz. And if y'all have seen the Lorax, I love kids' movies because aren't they just always disclosing great information? So in the Lorax, they've created this town. It's called Thneedville, where everybody just always needs, and they buy, and it's become very concrete and plastic and robotic and polluted, so much so that the people there have to buy the air. Now, I used to live in a real-life city that was a lot like Thneedville, and I escaped. And in that movie, when he escapes, like, go watch it, seriously, get you guys and watch it through this lens of, I'm going to learn something from this, because it is eye-opening. So, he gets to the edge of town, and he has to, like, get through the wall. That's like leaving Oz. There's actually a wall. There's a barricade. They don't want people getting out of Oz. Oz is a production studio, and if people get out of Oz, if people step out of the matrix that they've created in Oz, then the gig is up. It's like, you know, at the end of the Truman Show when he realizes that he's been inside a show his whole life and nothing has been real. That's what this does. And they can't have people realizing the truth. Number one, like, what does he realize when he gets to the edge of town and he goes to go see the Onceler? He realizes the level of destruction that has been created as a byproduct of how they've been living. And the same thing has to happen to the people of Oz. They have to actually first off wake up to the truth of everything that has been going on, because if you are trying to bury your head in the sand, like, y'all, I'm not even, my mind's going dirty with this. You can take it there. If your head is in the sand, if your head is buried in the sand, what position are you in? Aren't you, like, maybe in a position to get... Okay. Now, I'm not saying that you need to live in fear of what is happening in Oz. I am saying know thy enemy. The characters that are beginning the route to recovery, that are going on this adventure to the great beyond, the ones that will actually reach the great beyond, that will be successful, are the ones that, number one, are not carrying around any more baggage. They're traveling lightly. So shed the shit right now, the emotional stuff, the mental stuff, the grudges, the resentments, the physical crap. You literally need to be thinking right now, the people leaving Oz that want to leave Oz need to be thinking about downsizing. If you've been living in the city of Oz is changing. It is not what it once was, and the people there are not what they once were. They are now genetically modified in the land of Oz. They are transhuman. That's why they seem different. They are different. Nothing ever is ever going back to how it was, ever. The people are not the same. It will never have the same vibe. It will never go back. That time is done. Okay? I'm going to say it in a different energy now so you can feel the truth of the situation, because that one feels icky, does it not? That era is done. That time is done. That system is collapsing. It's over. It's done. Oz is falling apart at the seams, and hallelujah. Because you know what Oz had? Oz had a suicide rate that is astronomical. An addiction rate that is so sky high it's not even quantifiable because people don't talk about it. It had a rate of violence and crime that is disgusting. It had people living in such scarcity and such squalor that no human being ever deserves to live in that kind of condition. Oz has people not provided for, stressed out, disconnected, sick, diseased. Okay, so the fact that Oz is falling apart, it's not a problem. You know, with every single problem that presents itself, there's always a solution, and that's what the characters in this grand adventure are beginning to realize. They're beginning to realize that they're provided for at every step and that they are protected. But Oz is crumbling. It is falling away. Nothing will ever be like it was before. Okay? And it is totally normal for the characters on this adventure, on this quest, because that's what this is. It's a quest. It is totally normal for the characters to experience grief, to feel like there are just waves of emotion and overwhelm flowing over them. It is totally normal to feel confused or to feel like you're stuck. It is totally normal to be sometimes overcome with emotion. It's also normal to feel like you want to numb it out, or to spend days in boxes of Kleenexes crying. Okay? It is normal right now with what is going on in the upheaval of Oz. It is expected. I'm so sorry that it's happening. Like, congratulations and condolences. Yeah. It's lonely. It's confusing. It's been isolating. It's been eye-opening. It's been exhilarating. It's been exciting. It's been excruciating. It's been a beautiful disaster and a masterpiece while simultaneously being a work in progress. You know, kind of like you. It's been a lot. Something new is coming. You know it. I'm so sure, you silly being, that you went through everything that you have been through, that you have learned everything that you have, that you have become who you have become, to just have it end here. I'm so sure. You know, what's really interesting is the people that decide to leave Oz, like, so basically the people that find their way into my circle, because birds of a feather, we flock together, don't we? Love y'all. You know, we're in our own unique way, each of us, a whole bunch of rebels, are we not? Have we ever really fit into any of their boxes? Have we ever really even wanted to? Did that ever even seem like a good time? You know, so why on earth, if we've been this, like, think outside the box, I do what I want, I'm here for the experience kind of people, why on earth would we begin to conform or allow anybody outside of us to even think that they can tell us what we can do now? If you have a rebel heart, isn't this, like, actually the greatest time to be alive? And I wonder what possibility and what potentiality and what awesomeness opens up when you're willing to actually embrace the truth of who you are outside of Oz. And by all means, when Oz tries to pull her shenanigans, because she does that, I say she because, you know, there's a distinct difference between a masculine and a feminine energy. And one thing I noticed when I was teaching is, like, the dudes would get into it and they'd, like, punch each other or get in a fight, but then they'd be fine like 5 minutes later. But the girls were catty and cliquish. And Oz packs a punch for sure, but, like, is catty and cliquish and conniving, coercive. And Oz is this thing that has this inner rage within her and this darkness. Like, there's this power. Hear my daughter. There's this power, but there's this thing, and it's not, if y'all have been much around like the polarity conversation or the shadow work conversation, Oz is like a swampy energy. It's a fire swamp of trauma and drama. It's a trauma loop matrix. It's conniving. It's manipulative. So you actually got to, like, know that if you're going to make it out of that maze. You've got to actually know thy enemy. If you want to make it out of the abusive relationship in your life, if you want to actually, like, find your freedom and find yourself and find your voice, you need to know thy enemy. And now it's raining on me. Confirmation. See, because only when you know thyself, thy source, and quite frankly, thy enemy, there's great talk about, like, unity consciousness. Y'all, don't rush the process. Oh, I didn't even know this was going to come out right now. There's all this talk about unity consciousness, about coming together. No. No, not yet. Now let me tell you why. When you try to create synergy, when you try to create unity consciousness, but you are still participating in, turning a blind eye to, burying your head in the sand, denying, defying, what you're really doing is duplicating abuse and old trauma systems from Oz. There is not synergy, there is slavery. And so much of the personal development and the spiritual development communities have been pushing this idea of unity. And is that the end picture? You better believe it. It's beautiful. Okay, but the final product is not the same thing as the work of art in progress. Can we just agree on that? Maybe Shelby will see us and bless us with a time lapse of her painting. She does these amazing things. But the painting at the beginning and the thing at the end is like not anywhere in the same universe as the same thing. You can have a vision and it's good. Like, thank hallelujah that we have this vision of what we're creating and what is possible. But this like fake it till you make it unity conversation too early locks people into slavery instead of synergy. All right, until people actually take the personal responsibility and the personal accountability of getting their own backyard and their own hula hoop in order and out of Oz personally, there is no time or space for synergy. I gotta move this guy's boat. That's dangerous. That's like walking right up to the person that actually wants to harm you. Like walking right up and getting all buddy-buddy. I've done that before. Let those people move into my house. Don't do that. Learn from my mistakes, please. Okay? Now, is that the end goal? Yeah, that's the masterpiece. That's the new earth. Is revival coming? Oh, you better believe it. But now is not actually the time to be trying to unify with just anybody. It's going to get loud for a moment. I'll pause and I'll cut back in. Now's not the time to be creating unity with just anybody. All right? To not stand in the face of, how could I say this another way? Try to be very careful about how I'm phrasing things. Right now in the land of Oz, the king in the land of Oz has sent out a decree. And the decree has stated that hundreds of millions of people within the king's kingdom must give up their bodily autonomy, and they must choose to drink from a fruit punch bowl that has, who knows what, like a ton of crazy stuff in it. And the king has said that every single person that lives in the kingdom, if they want to come to the party, if they want to continue to earn within the kingdom, if they want to work with the kingdom, if they are already working with the kingdom, if they want to take care of the people in the kingdom, that if you want to do that, basically if you want to have any kind of participation in the kingdom at all, that you must come and drink from this bowl of Franken fruit punch. So my husband was telling me earlier, he was in the military. He said that at the military ball, they would have this big punch bowl, and they call it grog. It sounds disgusting if you ask me. But everybody would just bring whatever the heck they were going to bring, and they would just pour it into the bowl. And so someone might bring a bottle of whiskey. Someone might bring tequila. Someone might bring beer. Someone might bring wine. And all of it just gets dumped into this giant punch bowl. Now, I personally, I used to party hardy I used to really love me some good experimental drugs, like hallucinogens or the shit. By the way, there's way more funds out there than what's being pushed right now. I'm just saying. I'm not condoning drug use or anything. But, like, don't you think I should have a say over whether or not I have to drink from this punch bowl? Because when I was growing up, I was taught that I didn't need to give in to peer pressure. And I was taught that I didn't need to do experimental things. And I was asked repeatedly if my friends jumped off a bridge, would I just go do that too? And my answer was like, no, like, I'm going to weigh the situation and I can make a decision for myself whether or not I choose to ingest that thing. And so there's kind of this big conundrum going on in the land of Oz. Now, all the people in Oz really need to realize that if the king decides to mandate this for the people in Oz, the people in Oz actually need to realize that some people in the room are maybe allergic to some of the things that have been put in the punch bowl. The people of Oz need to realize that there are maybe some things in the punch bowl that could exacerbate things within certain people in the kingdom's bodies. That not everybody in the kingdom is created the same. You know, there's beer in there. Some people have celiac and a really serious gluten intolerance that's going to create problems. There's a bottle of 99 bananas in there, and for a diabetic, that's a lot of sugar that's going to create some major problems. Additionally, maybe we got an alcoholic in the room, so drinking a glass of grog is going to send him back off the wagon. Maybe somebody else already is suffering from depression, and so they drink some alcohol, which is a depressant, and now they're more depressed. Now, these people don't have these signs on them. Quite frankly, it's nobody's business what's going on in their own body. They know. Hopefully they know. You can be in touch with your body. You can know. But I think we can all agree that you certainly should not have to be peer pressured or kicked out of the kingdom or out of the kingdom's activities for making a decision on whether or not you put that fruit punch in your body. And see, the king has also said that if you want to party or if you want to travel around Oz, if you want to travel from the different provinces in Oz, that you'll need to drink this punch. And that you will have to participate in a masquerade ball and conceal part of your identity, even though they check your ID weird. That you will have to conform to certain rules if you want to continue to participate in the kingdom of Oz. The people of Oz are beginning to feel very frustrated with the mismanagement that is going on. See, because they supposedly elected, maybe that's not the right word. Can someone help me? I don't live in that kind of feudal. The people supposedly had a say in who came to throne in the land of Oz. It's beginning to look like, though, perhaps that was messed with. Perhaps Oz had some systems in place that put a king in position that's kind of just a post turtle. What's a post turtle, you say? It's a turtle on a fence post. It ain't supposed to be there, and it didn't get there on its own. So I'm beginning to wonder, because I'm feeling really big energy brewing as the story is unfolding through me and around me. And I see it so clearly in my mind's eye. And I'm wondering, do the people of Oz even realize how powerful they are? Do the people of Oz remember their rebel heart? Do the people of Oz have a pulse anymore? See, because to just roll over and to allow these things to happen condemns everybody. See, the moment that the king can make you ingest that punch, the moment that he can make you drink the grog, you have already given him permission to access your body and to make decisions about your body for you. And once you give a tyrant an inch, they will take 1,000,000 miles. There will be no end to what choices these people in Oz can or cannot make around their body or their children's bodies. And I've seen the next chapter of this book so clearly. This is a rally cry to the people that seek the great beyond, that seek sovereignty. If the people of Oz allow this, if they do not cry out, if they do not use their voice, if they do not activate their forces, if they do not join arms, they are literally participating in the deliberate poison of people they love from that punch bowl. If you have drink from this fruit punch bowl, you need to, right now, this moment, do not delay. The moment I get off of here, begin detoxing from the punch bowl. The punch bowl, can I tell you the punch bowl? The punch that is in the punch bowl, you don't know it. You don't know everything that has been added in there. You don't know that they have deliberately added things that will alter your consciousness. You don't know that the king and the people around the king, there are people with nefarious intent that have slipped potions and poisons within the punch bowl. You think that you're showing up to party and have a good time because they said that that's what you needed to do to participate in the party. Y'all, I'm a former party animal, I know. I've been lured by many a taco and promise of adult beverages or other things. I only talk about things that I've experienced, that I've made my way out of, y'all. I never talk about anything else. I don't have the right to. Okay, so when I speak to you, I'm speaking from my heart, and I'm speaking out of love, and I've been there. Alright, I've been to parties where I drank from the punch bowl, and I didn't watch the waitress deliver the punch to the table. I didn't get to read off the bottle what it was that I was ingesting. I didn't know. I didn't know that they had slipped GHB, date rape drug, into my punch. Thankfully, that night, the second time it happened, the first time it happened, I thought I was doing the right thing. I thought that I felt like I was fitting in. I felt like I belonged. I was like, if they were having a drink, I'm going to have a drink. But someone slipped something in my drink. And then my body was violated. And I lived with torment, physical, emotional, psychological torment. It was the start of my addiction. My body was violated because I drank from the punch bowl. And it had long-lasting effects, mind, body, and soul, because it was toxic. And the things that happened that came from it afterward were toxic. It was a traumatic experience drinking from that punch bowl. And the second time I drank from the punch bowl and it had something in there that I wasn't expecting it, again, the waitress, I started to tell this, the waitress I didn't watch her set it down on the table. If you're going to go out and party in public, this is just a PSA, get your drink straight from the bartender. Do not set your drink down. If you are at a concert, your hand is over the top of the cup, like this, holding on to it, so the cup is as covered as possible. You do not leave it outside. You do not hand it to a friend. I don't care if it was $10. You get a new damn drink if you set it down. You hear me? Because they slip something in there that I can't taste, that I don't know about, and 14 hours of my life are gone. The people that are drinking from this punch bowl are experiencing something else. So if you've already drank from it, stop going back to the punch bowl first. Second, when we get off this call today, you need to look up a detox protocol. I had to detox that shit from my body. You're going to have to detox this too. Okay? And it is important. It is imperative, and it is going to be now for you a lifelong protocol that you must do for your health. And there's lots of sources. I'm not going to go over them now because more people need to see this video, and the information is out there, okay? You can do the due diligence. Come follow my Telegram channel. We talk about a lot, the B space. It's weird and all over, but so am I. Y'all seem to like it. I'm on YouTube too. Okay, see, so I drank from those punch bowls, and that was like experimental, but I drank from other punch bowls too that supposedly had some science and some accolades behind them. It was supposed to be the thing to do, and that also harmed me. You don't know what another person's body is going to do, and so the king's mandates in the land of Oz are particularly terrifying. And to say that if you don't drink from the punch bowl, you cannot participate in reality. Women, how many of you out there have ever been around a dude that has ever made a threat like that? Well, if you don't do this, I'm not going to. I've had it happen. I've had it happen at work. I've had my schedule cut because I refused to do with my body that which I didn't want to do. I've had that happen. It's happening to 100 million people in Oz right now. You want to get out of Oz, you got to wake up to the truth of what's happening. You think it's acceptable that we have leadership? We've got a boss. We've got a bitchy overlord stifling success, at best. You think that this is acceptable on any front? You think that this is okay? Do you know what this means for our children in Oz? See, in Oz, they're doing crazy shit to the kids, too. They're saying that the kids in Oz, they're not old enough. They're not old enough to choose, like, if they need a mental health day from school. They're not old enough to choose what they want to study. They're not old enough to eat snack when they're hungry or go potty when they need to. They have to ask permission. But they're old enough in Oz to choose to drink from the punch bowl without parental consent. If that doesn't make your blood boil, I don't know what will. And I don't think you're even really alive. So check in with yourself right now. Or like, are you denying the truth of what is actually happening around the world? The world, the dome earth. in Oz. Look, like if you actually want to take the trail out of Oz, you've got to get real with what's so. And what's so is that Oz is a manipulation machine. Oz has lied to you, and like the very best thing that the people of Oz can do is they can just assume. I think this just makes it easier. Just assume that everything that Oz has ever said to you, right? Like, you want to get over an abusive relationship, like, you got to just assume that whatever that jerk off ever said to you was a lie, and everything that they ever did was a manipulation. And then you got to set out to actually discovering what the truth actually is. But you're going to have an easier go of it if you can just get clear on what so is. Like, Oz is a habitual liar. Okay? Oz is a manipulator. Oz has been taking advantage of you. Oz is a parasite and a narcissist. Oz has been eating you for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and not in the way that feels good. And Oz has been doing it with intention, deliberately, because Oz has a psychological disorder. Okay? Like, the sooner that you can wrap your head around that, and the sooner that you're actually going to be able to break free from it, because it is just a construct. It is a virtually constructed reality. It is not a real thing. It's not a place that you have to be stuck. The truth is, when you are being yourself, when you are connected to source, when you are listening to that still small voice within you, when you are honing your internal guidance system, when you are honing your animal instinct, you are always in the right place at the right time. You are always provided for. You are always protected. You always have the sign. Any door that closes, another one will open. It is not over until it's over. Oh, y'all are getting kicked off. We were on a roll there. I'm going to download it and we'll re-upload it, okay? You were made for a time such as this. But things that are built on a web of lies crumble. That which is left is built on a firm foundation of truth. So assume that everything that you have known is a lie and nothing is going back to how it was, and that is just what's so. And when you can get clear on that and level on that and do whatever, grieving, emotional release, yelling in the woods, burning old notebooks, I don't know what you need to do to get good with you on that. And you can get to a good, clear spot, then we can begin to have a conversation of how do we actually create what we're here for now. How do we move beyond? What now? How do we band together? How do we take our power back? Quite frankly, like, how do we choose and create new ways of living? But you cannot have synergy if you're still supporting slavery. If you are trying to do that and you are just condoning the evil acts of the corrupt people of Oz, you are just further ensnaring yourself and others in slavery, okay? Have the vision, have the end vision in mind, keep it close, hold it near, embrace it, milk it. Spend as much of your daydreaming time in that new place where it is finished. It is done. Redemption is here. Jubilee is upon us. Revival has come. Spend as much time in that space as you can. Because that energy is what is anchoring in the new. But don't you dare for a moment think that every single person in your existence is going to end up in that new space, because they're not. They are being refined right now. True colors are being shown. Some people need to find their way out of your circle. Some people need to have less time in your space and in your energy and in your taking up rent-free room in your being. And with love, with so much love, okay? Like with love, but sometimes we need to love people from afar, and if people are supporting the agenda of Oz that is enforcing slavery, they are not the people that these characters need to keep close right now. That would be like, we're going on a great grand adventure. By the way, we're backpacking. So you're going to have to bring yourself and what you really need, and we're going to go on this who knows how long journey. And you're like, well, hold up a minute. I got to bring Aunt Susie and Uncle Jake and 17 of their children along or else. No. All of these tethers that you have to the past, all of these chains that you have with people that are on their own journey, folks. It's actually rude of you to try to drag their ass up the mountain when they don't want to go. Let them go. They are on their own path. It is okay. They are a divine being too. They are just at a different stage in the journey. They may need to go somewhere else to learn some other lessons. That is okay. Let them go with love. It's one of these things like, I love you so much. I hope that you eat well. Some people are not meant to be at your table anymore. Some of you, if you keep some of these people at your table, you are perpetuating abuse against yourself that does not need to be perpetuated any longer. And if you continue to participate in it, you will forever keep yourself trapped in the trauma loop of Oz. You hear? You are not meant for that. You cannot serve two gods. You cannot have split energy. You cannot be in two places at the same time. If you want to step into the great beyond and you know that this body is not done here and you want to have more, you must be full-assed, not just half-assed into it. You must be full-assed into that decision, and your intent changes everything. Look, if there is breath in your lungs, there is still a chance and a choice to have something different, but you must do it with pure intent and your whole heart, and then you must move forward, no looking back, because the past does not exist anymore the way you left it. There is nothing to go back to. That old town is ash. Pick up your mat. Let go of what ails you and walk, because you have been healed and you have been redeemed and you're choosing something different. And don't for one moment allow a single person outside of you on this journey to pull you back down into the trauma pit. Don't allow them to control you. Don't allow them to manipulate you. Stand firmly in your knowing of who you are. Okay, it is an energetic state of being that is going to shift the people out of Oz directly into a new space and a new reality, and it starts as a state of being within themselves. And from that state of being, they will get new insight and new information, and those people will listen to that call and that internal GPS and that animal instinct, and they will be in the right place at the right time. And they will be protected. And they will hear what they need to do and listen here. We are being called right now to be the hands and the feet. There are people that are seeking you that need to hear what you have to say. There are people that need provision. There are people that need meals. There are people that need a roof over their head. If you have something to give, give it. You are valuable. You are important. Your help is needed. You can be an angel and a savior in somebody else's life, a Sherpa, as they take this journey to something more. We are not meant to be dependent on the overlords of Oz. We are meant to do it for each other and for ourselves out of the goodness and the kindness of our heart, all right? And when we do that, we can shift this thing. Everything, no matter what it looks like, it's just an optical illusion. It's just optics. The land of Oz is optics. We can change what we're seeing so fast. So fast. We are powerful. And it doesn't need to be violent, and it doesn't need to be angry. All the people of Oz need to do, really, they need to channel that rebel heart. They need to remember who they are, that they have a heart, that they have brains, they have courage, they have a home within themselves. They need to do whatever the heck it's going to take. Whatever it takes. And you can. We can. We can do this. All right. I love y'all so much. Come find me on Telegram and YouTube, the B Space, that's just BE, or thebspace.com. Also, I'm getting a lot of humanitarian aid projects rolling. If you would like to help participate in that, if you'd like to get something rolling in your area, I would love to chat with you. If you would like to contribute financially, that is always so helpful and important. Please, let's begin to set up some spaces where we can feed people, where we can love on people, where we can give hugs, where we can bring humanity back, because this is how we change the world. We remember that we are human, and we connect source to self and then to each other. Okay? This is the holy divinity, source to self and then this way. All right. I love you guys madly, and we'll chat soon.